Alright everyone, welcome back. We're here for part number 3 for I'm the Resurrection. Really well done if you've made it this far. Let's get into it. Alright then, we're back in the hot seat. This is going to be part number 1 and you'll find this is considerably easier than the entirety of the last lesson, so I have a nice gentle start to this one. Let's have a look at the demo and break it down. See there, I was doing a lot of power chords there, a lot of B power chords moving into different shapes with a couple of riffs in between. We're going to start off that B power chord down at the 2nd fret. We're going to keep the strumming sort of fairly open. Should sound a little bit like this. On the 4th time round on that B power chord, we're just going to shift up to the 7th fret of our G and B and play those two together barred, and that should sound like this. And so from here, we're then going to move into a sort of B bar chord like this between the 7th and 9th frets, and the reason that we're going to do that is shortly afterwards we're then going to do these other kind of riffs here with our middle and ring fingers at the 9th fret of the G and B, just sort of playing those quite a lot and bending them up, and that should sound a little bit like this. So you'll notice there I played the B bar chord around once, and then on the 2nd time we're then going to bring in that riff. And we're just doing that twice before going back to our B bar chord there. And then we're going to play it again and let it ring out. So we're now moving into part number 2, where the song's going to really pick up some momentum again. We're going to break this down into just a few phrases this time because there's quite a few fiddly little bits of guitar there. Let's have a look at the example and break it down. So let's have a look at phrase number 1. We're going to begin with this B major bar chord between the 7th and 9th frets, and we just need to get used to this strumming pattern. I'll do that again. And then one more time, just a bit slower. The reason I'm doing the string rakes is because we need to fit in these little riffs in between the chord segments, and the first one starts at the 7th fret of the D, hammering on to the 9th, and then the 7th fret of the G. It should sound like this. And again. And one more time. The second riff is going to be at the 7th fret of the A string, and we're going to pull off to the 5th, and then we'll go 7th fret of the E, 5th of the A, 7th fret of the E, and then we'll play the 5th fret of the E. This is a particularly tricky riff to play. It's quite fast when you really speed up the tempo to how it's played. And again. And at a faster speed it will sound like this. Moving into phrase number 2, we're going to begin again with that B major chord, and then we're going to do the exact same phrase we did the first time round. 7 to 9 on the D, 7 on the G, and then the B major chord again, and this time we're going to do a different riff which sounds like this. So we'll be starting on the 7th fret of the D, going to the 9th, and then 7 to 9 on the G as well, but then we'll pull that back off to the 7th fret, and then roll our index finger back over to the 7th fret there of the D. It should sound like this. And again. Afterwards, we're then going to play the open A string and bar the 7th fret of our D and G now, to create this really cool sort of A rock sound. And then we'll go into an E major, and if you want to, you can bring in your pinky finger to the 3rd fret there of the B. It goes like this. Put them together and we get this so far. Phrase number 3 is going to sound like this. So we're going to start with another B major chord. This time it's going to be the Hendrix 3-note version of it, and the reason we're going to do that is because shortly afterwards we're going to need to bar the 9th fret. Anyway, so like I said, we'll start with the Hendrix shape. We're just going to play that once, and then we'll bar the 9th fret like I just said as well, D string, G string and B string, and then we'll bring it back and just play that a few more times. It should sound like this. We're then going to go from the 9th fret on the G to the 7th, and then roll that over to the 7th of the D. Afterwards, we're then going to go back to the 9th fret of our D, G and B and play that, just riff it a few times. And then we'll go again 9 to 7 on the G, and then roll that over to the 7th. And and then we'll be back into our sort of A rock chord there, into the E major, and then we'll be into phrase number 4. As we move into our 4th and final phrase, again coming off the back of that A rock kind of shape and the E major with the pinky finger there, once again we're going to go back to a B major chord. I'm sure you could guess that one, but this time again we're going to do the Hendrix shape 3-note one. Just play that a little bit, and then we're going to bar the D and G at the 7th fret and alternate those, just like that. So it's D, G, D, G. It should sound like this. We're then going to go back to our B major chord again and do a familiar riff, 9th fret, G and B. It should sound like this. We're then going to go back to our B major bar chord, full one this time, and just riff it out again and again until we get to the next natural stop in the song. So we've now arrived at part number 3, where the song's going to take a little instrumental break. Let's have a look at it. So to begin with, we're just going to have to count 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to come straight in with this repeating riff. It goes like this. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with this already, but I'll just run you through it. It goes 7 to 9 on the A, and then 7 on the D, and then we repeat and repeat. And on the last time we'll go 7 to 9, and then bar the D and G at the 9th fret with our ring finger. And then we're going to let that one ring out for another bar. So far it sounds like this. So we're going to come back in with a second riff, but we've just got to wait 4 beats or a bar roughly, and then we're going to come back in sliding to the 9th fret of the D, 7th on the G, and then we'll do some back and forth between the 9th and 7th frets on the D. So that's 3 times going back and forth. And then the 9th fret of the A, and then we'll slide that down into a B power chord, where we'll be staying for quite a considerable time. I'll just show you the demo so you can get familiar with that part. So we've now arrived at part number 4, where we're going to get into a really amazing riff. It's probably my favourite part of the entire instrumental section. Let's look at it and break it down. going to be starting at the 2nd fret of the E. I'm just going to play that once as a lead in. You don't have to do that, but it sounds pretty cool. And then we're going to play it again, going into our first phrase, and go to the 5th fret of the B there, going to 3rd. And then again 5, 3, and then the 4th fret of the G. And then we'll go 3, 5 to finish off our phrase number 1. Phrase number 2 then will be starting once again at our 2nd fret of our E, then 5, 3, 5 on the B. Then we're going to flatten our pinky to play the 5th fret of the E. And then we're going to bring it back to our 5th fret of our B and slide it up to the 7th. And then we'll play the 5th fret. And that'll be our phrase number 2. Put phrases 1 and 2 together and we have this so far. Phrase number 3 then will be starting from that 5th fret of the B, going down to the 3rd, and then 4th on the G, 3rd of the B, 4th from the G, and then we'll go 2, 4 on the G, and then we'll go 3 on the B, we'll then go 5, 3 to 4 on the G, and then we're going to go 3 on the B to 5 and slide that up and down to the 7th back to the 5th. Phrase number 3 slowly just goes like this. And again. Phrase number 4 is going to start with us riffing on the 5th fret of the high E, going over to the 7th fret of the B, we're then going to do 3 pull-offs from the 7th fret to the 5th on the B, we're then going to take that down to the 3rd fret, and then we're going to do a little bit back and forth here, 3, 5, 3 to the 4th from the G, and then 3, 5, 3, 4 from the G. Our 5th and final phrase just sounds like this. We're going to go 2nd fret of the E there, familiar territory here, pinky finger, then 5, 3 on the B, and then again 5, 3, going to the 4th of the G, to the 3rd of the B, and then back to the 4th of the G this time. And then we're going to play that again, and then start over, 2nd fret of the E, and then once more 5, 3, 5, 3, and then 4th from the G, 3rd on the B, and then we're going to play our 4th fret on the G and then 5th on the B together. Alright, so that was my lesson on I'm the Resurrection, part number 3. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the final part number 4.